Yo, what up everyone? Amir here, owner of Rappin' and Snackin', getting into another Hot Takes video. These are Hot Takes provided by y'all, so hit me up on Instagram and TikTok at Rappin' and Snackin'. Subscribe to this channel. These Hot Takes are actually taken from an Instagram Q&A that I had going on in the past few days. So if y'all submitted your Hot Takes, then I may have picked one of yours. I'm also going to be picking some Hot Takes from my YouTube channel, so if you click my page and go in the feed, you'll see that I asked a question for some hot takes. So submit some there, and I'll make sure to put some of those in my next video and in future videos as well. So subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff. Click an ad because it gets me paid, and it's easy for you. You're already watching, so just click it, man. Appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get into one of these first takes here. We got this person named Alex B. Tiggs. Volume 3 is Jay's second best album. I'm going to go ahead and do a definite disagree on that. I do actually think that would be kind of a hot take because I never really see people put Volume 3 in a top Jay-Z album discussion, especially not in like the top 1 or 2 spots. I never see that. And I also don't regard it that high. It actually might be my least favorite of the 3 volumes that he dropped, which would be In My Lifetime, Hard Knock Life, and then this one that he's talking about, The Life and Times of Sean Carter. Definitely most likely my least favorite of those 3. I just don't think it has enough staying power in the rotation from the track list. I think obviously like you got the hit like So Ghetto, I think is amazing. Him and Premier always do great work together. You got Big Pimpin', which was dope. You have like Come and Get Me, which I like, and there's just other songs that I also enjoy. But for the most part, this album did not have the replay value for me as some of his other albums did. And to say it's number 2, that would mean it's better than American Gangster, it's better than 444, it's better than Reasonable Doubt, and Blueprint, Black Album, and more. It has to be better than at least 2 of those. That's kind of wild to even think, at least for me. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with that, but let me know what y'all think, and I'd be intrigued to see what this person's first favorite Jay-Z album is, if that's his second favorite. Next up, we're going to stick with Jay-Z. We got someone named Hi, I'm Score. This person's dope. We talk quite a bit. He's a homie on Instagram. He is saying Black Album is better than The Blueprint by Jay-Z. Now this, I don't know if it's a hot take per se. I think that this is definitely a debate that I've seen online quite a bit. There are definitely a lot of people who prefer Black Album and a lot of people who prefer The Blueprint. It's not like an easy debate, right? I think that I prefer the Black Album over The Blueprint, and I think that it is also the better project, but I wouldn't say by much. I think they're both pretty level, and I don't think either of them have a lot of bad qualities to them. I think, I'd probably take off a song or 2 off both of them tops, but I do think the Black Album has better range. I think the production is slightly better. I mean, he really, since this was supposed to be his retirement album, no one believes that, but he really got a lot of different producers on here from, DJ Quick, Rick Rubin, we have Timbaland, we have Pharrell, Neptunes, we have just a ton of Kanye, etc. And on The Blueprint, it's a little more Kanye, Just Blaze, Bink, if I recall. So we got a lot of productions from those people, and the production is great on both. Don't get me wrong. I just think we get to hear a little more range from Jay-Z on the Black Album. I think the singles from both are great, although, it is tough, right? It's not an easy one. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Black Album. And also, it's funny because the Black Album has one of the best interludes I've ever heard, and I wouldn't even consider it an interlude. I just call it a song, really. I don't know why he calls it an interlude, but that's just what it's called, and it's phenomenal. And I like how he ended the album with My First Song, and shout out to Notorious B.I.G. and all that, because if his first song is his last song or whatever, which that didn't end up panning, that would have been pretty dope. But both albums are so good. I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Black Album, but let me know what y'all think below. I think this is a great topic. Next up, we got... Okay, this is a hot take, bro. This is hilarious to me. All right, so we got Mags B here, and I recognize your name. Shout out to you. He says, Eminem completely ruined Chronic 2001, making it unlistenable. What? What is this guy talking about, bro? Okay, first off, I'm shocked because how can anyone say that Chronic 2001 is unlistenable? That alone is blasphemous, right? The album is phenomenal. Next up, I'm going to have to go on top of my head here, right? I couldn't tell you Eminem's on even a decent amount of this album. He's obviously on the single Forgot About Dre. He's all over that. He wrote on it. He's featured on it. His voice is all over it, right? So maybe you hate that song. I'll give you that, even though I think it's amazing. Then what's he on? He's on What's the Difference with Exhibit, who has an exceptional verse, Exhibit, and Eminem has a great verse, and so does Dre. So, okay, let's say you take those two songs off the album. I don't think Eminem's featured on any other song on the album. He probably has writing credits elsewhere on the album, but his voice isn't on the album. So, are you upset about his contributions to the album, or are you upset because of his voice on the album? But, okay, let's say you take off those two songs. This album still goes down as a classic and an amazing album, and it will still sell millions of copies. So I do not understand this take at all. How can the Chronic 2001 be unlistenable? This album is so good. This is a shock. This is for sure a hot take. I don't like this take at all, Magsby. What are you talking about? Hit me up and let me know why you think this. People, sound off in the comments. Is this guy crazy? I mean, I'd be shocked if someone agreed with this. There's no way. No way. But someone's gonna agree. Just don't tell me you agree, because I'm be super shocked. Next up, shout out to you, Magsby. Next up, we got someone here, Chris Suchicha, saying Ransom the greatest alive. So that's funny. Ransom I've actually never heard anyone say Ransom is the greatest ever, so that's for sure a hot take. I think Ransom is a dope artist. For those who don't know Ransom, he's a dope rapper. I believe he's from New Jersey, if I recall, and he's released a lot of mixtapes. He's released some albums as well, like I have his Baby Grand album, Street Cinema. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. He had one with Static Selecta, The Proposal, so I like that one too. But the best, the greatest, no way. I mean, Ransom is actually super dope with punchlines, and I think I remember when I first discovered him, it was on YouTube, and I heard him doing like freestyles and just like stuff like that. I think he had a freestyle called "You Know What'll Happen" freestyle, and that shit was super dope. And then from then, I just went on a YouTube rabbit hole of finding his freestyles, and I thought, this fool can spit. He has amazing punchlines, all that. But when you get to like his actual albums and stuff, they don't pan compared to all these other like dope artists. He's got some dope stuff, but no way. But can he spit, and is he dope, and is he lesser known? For sure. I think Ransom's awesome. I think he does deserve flowers, but say he's the greatest alive, no way. For those who listen to Ransom, let me know your favorite stuff below. I'd be intrigued to hear that. Next up, we got a food take here from Foxy Cleopatra. Shout out to her. She is saying horchata is better than Kool-Aid. I 100% agree. I don't know if I've necessarily seen this comparison before, but for those who don't know, horchata is like a rice cinnamon drink. It's at a lot of Hispanic, Mexican restaurants, Spanish, Latino restaurants. And, dude, that's one of my favorite drinks. But the thing is, so I sometimes stray away from ordering horchata depending on where I am. So if you have like a street vendor and you get to like the bottom of the big bucket that they have, sometimes you see the ice there, and then you see the horchata and you see that it's probably pretty watered down, so then I kind of stay away from it. So for those who haven't tried it yet and you see it in a big bucket and it's kind of like at the bottom, don't get it. Get like when it's at minimum halfway or 3/4 of the way filled, because you're going to get it without it being watered down. Super, super, super good. I love it. Anytime I see it, I will order it. Kool-Aid I also enjoy, that's for sure, but Kool-Aid for me is more of like a pastime drink. I had it when I was a kid. I loved, I always had trouble cracking off the top. I was a little stupid, but you crack off the top, you drink it, but it's also kind of like extremely sugary, at least now. I recently had it just like last week, and I was like, damn, this is pretty sugary, and I think horchata is just definitely better. But, both have a place in my heart. Kool-Aid's dope, but horchata's definitely reigning supreme on that one. Shout out to Fox Cleopatra. Next up, we got my guy 80 Uno. He's saying Warren G is a one-hit wonder, LOL, fight me. So that's kind of funny. I can see the case for this. That's why I find it funny. I don't agree with it, but I can see the case, and I can see why he thinks it, because I've also kind of thought it at one point. So Warren G, the first thing that comes to mind is Regulate, right? That's the first thing that comes to mind. That's Warren G, and that's Nate Dogg, rest in peace. And that was also on the Above the Rim soundtrack. Then it was so big that he also had an album called Regulate. and that was also a great album. I think that album's amazing. So just by that alone, I don't consider him a one-hit wonder. He also has I Want It All, which was huge. He has Nobody Does It Better with Nate Dogg, which is huge. So just those songs alone, no way. But can I see the argument being made? Yes, because to be honest with you, when I've had discussions with other people, the only thing they mention is Regulate. And to me, although I don't think he's a one-hit wonder, other people, if they can only name one hit, that's what that means, right? At least to me, that's what that means. If you're only recognizable by one song, then you kind of fall into the one-hit wonder category. It's kind of like Skee-Lo and I Wish, right? People only mention that song, or Ahmad back in the day. People only mention those songs. Not to say their other stuff isn't dope, but if you're only known by that, I can see the argument. I don't agree with it, per se, because like I said, I Want It All was a smash. Nobody Does It Better was big, and these are all great songs. This DJ, etc., etc., etc. But I can see it. It's kind of a controversial take. It's definitely a hot take. If anyone wants to fight 80 Uno, he says he will take some fighters. So shout out to 80 Uno. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let's go into another take. Next up, we got someone named Henry WXN. He's super annoying, but gotta admit that the game has more classic albums than 50 Cent. So I actually did answer this one on Instagram. And, I do agree with this, that the game has better albums than 50 Cent. I don't want to say classic albums, but I think the game has better albums than 50 Cent. I think that is for sure. I've said a few times on this channel that the game, his discography is so good, and it really is. I mean, you'd be shocked at how good it is, actually, if you really listen to it and put the personal stuff aside from the game, like the corniness that you see or just some of the weird stuff he does to promote his albums. He's super dope, actually. 50 Cent, I mean, he plateaued, and then he kind of dropped some whatever stuff, some lackluster stuff, some mediocre stuff, and then he's dropped some good stuff as well, and then he just went into his own world of investments and TV and all that stuff. So good for him. He's making his own money. He's living his own life. But yeah, the game for sure has better albums than 50 Cent, 100%. But I do think Get Rich or Die Trying is the best album of all the albums, right? Of the game and 50 Cent's catalogs combined. I would say that's the best album. But the game as a collective just has better music than 50 Cent, 100%. His albums are really, really, really dope, and 50 Cent's catalog doesn't hold a candle to the games in that respect. So I definitely agree on that. Next up, we got someone named TF The One saying, in my opinion, Fugees don't get the respect they deserve. So this is an interesting take, and it's actually because I think that the Fugees, so people really only talk about them for their album The Score. They did have an album before that, Blunder on Reality. But The Score, which went multi-platinum, and it's a worldwide smash, that album, I think it's interesting, and I'm kind of disagreeing with this person because that album is so big. But if you think about it, the Fugees got the biggest off of their songs that were really covers. Killing Me Softly being the song that really blew them up, being like a cover. Then like No Woman, No Cry is a cover. Ready or Not, I don't know if it's a cover per se, but it's heavily, it's clearly heavily sampled. Or it samples heavily. So much so that they were about to get sued. So, I mean, I just think the Fugees are a dope group, but in terms of the stuff that they got big on, it's not like original, right? That's what I think. I think the Fugees, like I said, are dope, but then they plateaued and then they kind of disappeared, and there was so much internal stuff also going on, and Lauryn Hill dropped her album, Wyclef dropped his album, etc., etc., etc. But I think that they were good and awesome, and I just think there was more potential to be had rather than the covers that they did. And they did a lot of them. And not to say if that's bad, but I think that for them to get biggest off of those songs, I think it just, I don't know. It doesn't sit as well with me in terms of how I view them. Granted, their album is far more than just those songs. I mean, they have some really good songs on that album, right? How Many Mics, Zealots, whatever. I think that those songs, etc., Cowboys, blah, 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 The Mask are really good, but for them to say they don't get the respect they deserve, that I kind of disagree with. That I definitely do actually disagree with. Because especially since after that, they didn't really release more stuff as a group. Like I said, there's other stuff behind the scenes for that. But that's just my opinion on that. And I would actually like to see what people think about that, because I don't see the Fugees get talked about as a group a lot per se, but I do see them get talked about for the score a lot. So I never see them in top group discussion. What I'll usually see is like Lauryn Hill's like a best discussion for like female artists and stuff like that. But as far as a group, I never see the Fugees pop up, so I can kind of see his point. But that's why I said what I said and why I disagree. But those are all the takes that I'm going to go through in this video. Let me know what y'all think below. Appreciate y'all as always. Hit me up on Instagram and TikTok at Rappin' and Snackin'. Drop a hot take on YouTube. I'm going to drop it, like I said, in that feed section, whatever. Just find it and click an ad. Buy a shirt down below. Do all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all as always. Talk to y'all next time. Bless.